You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of ZenTech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from ZenTech Consultants. I am Jim, your very annoyed at the moment host, and with me, as always, is Rocco. Say hi, Rocco.
Yep. Hello.
I'm annoyed. The Anchor, the tool that we use for recording the podcast, they deleted our cow sound. I played another one. I don't think you can hear it, Rocco, on your end, but it doesn't sound right. It completely threw off my intro, everything. I'm very, very frustrated right now.
I think we need a protest.
We're going to definitely protest. I'm going to have to go see if we can find a better cow sound now. And the one that we have that I'm using here today, it's not bad, but it's not good enough. It doesn't sound right. I need to go find a better one.
There always is another option.
Yeah, but I can't do that. I can't do that while I'm doing the intro. So here's what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to do the cow sound while I do the CADDle Call podcast. See, we can work it as a team. So let's hear your cow. See, he's never as much fun as me. I did the cow. I don't see a problem.
I can't. I would just laugh too hard.
It works. But you know what? Because I'm annoyed, that means you're going to have to punish. You didn't do the cow, so you know what that means. It means you have to listen to the engineering joke of the week. All right.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. You thought I forgot. I'm not going to forget. All right. So here's your joke, right? So an engineer, a physicist, and a statistician are all trying to hit a target 400 feet away with a cannon, right? So the physicist says, hey, this is easy, right? So he does all his little calculations, and he fires a cannon, but he falls 100 feet short of the target. Right? So the engineer looks at him and goes, knucklehead, you forgot to factor in wind. You forgot to bring the imperfections in the cannonball. Let me do this. So the engineer goes and he calculates, and he overshoots by 100 feet. And the statistician jumps up and goes, we hit it! Sorry, I think that's a great joke. I laugh at my own joke. It's not really mine. I stole it from the web, but it's a great joke.
Oh, boy.
You hit the mean. Come on, you hit the mean. Statisticians love that. All right, so what are we talking about today? Let's get into the podcast. We had enough of the silliness. Rocco, you're always distracted with the silliness. I blame you. So,
Okay.
All right, so you know what? Today I want to talk about a topic that I am a huge believer in, and that is using Bluebeam Revu for space planning and facility management. And now, look, I know what everybody out there is thinking, right? There are specialized software systems, right? Like Archibus and FM systems that do this type of work. And you're right, they do. And they're both really good advanced management tools. But there are really kind of, I think, two big issues with systems like those. First, they're overlays onto CAD-based systems. And that means that you're going to need to purchase and maintain and train your staff on both a CAD system and that facilities management space planning system, right? So you got to have two different systems there. And second, they're really complex systems that require a highly trained professional, right, to work effectively. In other words, you're probably going to need to hire a consultant who's either going to develop the system for you or just outright handle all your facility management and space planning work for you. Bluebeam Revu, on the other hand, it's one of the most popular software systems out on the market today. So most of us already know how to use it, at least at some level. And it's a perfect system for a level of space planning and control or facilities management that most of us are going to need. Look, if you're a dedicated facility manager for, a high-end manufacturing facility or some giant biopharma concern, then sure, yes, I understand. You're going to want to use one of those dedicated software systems. Most people, though, are going to be just fine using a tool like Bluebeam that's going to tell you how much square foot a group is leasing, right? What inventory items are in which rooms, providing links to forms and drawings and other data that's relevant to a particular space. Rocco, what's the response of most people who come to us for help with space planning or facilities management, and we point them at Bluebeam? Are they surprised or are they intrigued?
Yeah, they don't even you just don't think of Bluebeam as a tool that could that has that functionality in it. So they're definitely surprised, and surprised in more than one way, right? Because Bluebeam is so inexpensive and and pretty easy to work with. So yeah, definitely surprised
Okay.
and interested.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's good that they're interested, right? Just surprising people to surprise them. Unless we're doing a party, that's not a good idea. Um, so let's start today with the space related functionality that's really built into Bluebeam. And this is a feature that I use and train people on all the time, particularly in regard to like takeoff and estimating. But it actually works even better for space planning and lease books and inventory controls. Bluebeam's built-in, spaces tool. It lets you outline and identify real-world locations like offices and departments and so on, right, directly on your PDFs. I can easily go in and I can outline, just draw a line around Office 101 and Office 102. It takes like 3 seconds, right? Then Bluebeam can identify and label any object that we put inside those spaces. So, if I drop a chair in Office 101 and a table in Office 102, Bluebeam can read and identify each item's location within my facility. Right? Not just that, but when I begin to edit and move those objects, right? So let's say the chair gets moved from, over into Office 102. Bluebeam immediately updates its labeling to reflect that new location. Basically, what it means is you're just going to place symbols on your plans to represent real world objects and let Bluebeam keep track of where they are automatically. Right? Edits for end users just means adding or moving the symbols around on screen, right? How easy is that? Anybody can do that. The other thing that I really like about working with the Bluebeam Spaces process is it allows for the nesting of spaces. In other words, right, if our two example offices are both in use by, say, the accounting group, right, and they're on the 14th floor, right? All I have to do is go in and I identify each floor as a space and each department on that floor as a space, right? And then add my offices, and Revu automatically labels my chair desk combo there as being on the 14th floor in the accounting department in Office 102. I don't have to do anything once that's set up. Set up my buildings once and let it handle it. Right? I mean, it's an incredibly powerful but remarkably simple to use process. Rocco, we have been showing this functionality to a lot of people in the facilities management, space planning, industry recently. Right? What's the response we get when we show them the spaces feature, right? Even at its most basic level.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that it's there. I mean, we have a video out there on YouTube, and I even forget what it's called now. But when
Slacker.
folks come across it, I know, that's me. So when people come across it, they're thoroughly impressed with it because they don't even recognize that that the product has that capability.
Yeah.
So
it always surprises me too that people don't use this more. Hey, look, another major benefit of that Bluebeam Spaces feature is that it can automatically extract the area, right? Whether it's in square footage or any other units you need for every space that you define in your plan and label that accordingly as well, right? Bluebeam can immediately total out all the spaces based on, hey, how much space is this client using? How much is that department using? This renter, right? Or any other custom identifier you need. You can generate and sort and filter and pull reports like that on these areas. And these spaces and areas can be really easily edited in place, right? When changes need to be made, when you're updating and people are moving or adding more space or losing space. And Bluebeam also has the native functionality to handle what we call slip sheeting, all right? Or replacing the background PDF with a revised or updated version of the plan while maintaining all of your spaces and your areas that you've already got in place, right? And it's even a simple variation, I guess, from the review estimating process to just go in there and start, putting in some custom columns to add, a per square foot cost or a volume based cost, right, for every space, and let review handle all your, your lease pricing or whatever other, kind of costs and controls you need. Bluebeam has this full system for handling formulas of just about any kind, right in place, right in the system, so that you can dramatically automate that process of developing costs and prices and so on, right? And handle all of your changes with this really, really simple user interface. Rocco, and we have just really started advertising, right, this functionality for just a few months now. Have we seen, interest from people on this? And if so, what industries or areas are kind of calling us on this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not bursting out of the seams, right? I mean, again, people aren't aware of that they don't think of Bluebeam as a tool that could be used in this way. But the industries vary. I mean, from government agencies that want to be able to, state or federal agencies that want to be able to manage, space, to small facilities, manufacturing plants that want to be able to manage equipment and where equipment is moved and such. So it's those key areas that I'm thinking that really come to mind.
Okay.
Where there's a little bit more interest.
It's good. All right. So I think, one last thing that I kind of want to cover on the spaces side of this discussion before we close out this half of the podcast. It's the ability to copy and paste spaces across multiple documents, right? Think about like a multi-story commercial office building, right? It's going to have, common areas and stairwells and restrooms and elevators and so on that recur on every floor, right? And those spaces need to be defined, right? And in a traditional space planning leasing system, that's always a complex issue. With Bluebeam, it really is a simple copy paste function. Bluebeam will actually let you paste the items into the exact same coordinate location from floor to floor to floor to floor, which makes it really, really easy to just make sure everything's in the right spot and at the right size and shape. And for most common core items, all you're going to need to do is rename them, right? Just change, stairwell 1A to stairwell 2A when you move to the second floor. And you know what? In case I forgot to mention this, just from a visual standpoint, all of your spaces can be color coded, right? For quick visual identification, right? Of who owns what areas, and your areas that you develop from those can be set onto separate layers, so you can turn things on and off, and you can put hatch patterns on them. All right, all of that inside of Bluebeam. So lots of stuff you can do with the space planning.
So is there a reason to, or I'm thinking of the integration with CAD, Jim, right? Is there an integration in this scenario where you could link to AutoCAD, for example, and is there any benefit in doing that?
Not really. I mean, can it be done? Yes, it can. But you kind of come back to that idea of having to learn and maintain multiple systems, where I think that for most people, Bluebeam alone is really going to handle what they need. Particularly along the space planning, it's really, really great. CAD, to my mind, and I've spent my career doing CAD and design work. It's a design tool. It's not really a space management, facilities management tool. It's kind of defaulted that way because those DWG files were available for use. Now we've got a tool like Bluebeam that I think just does it better. So I don't usually push people in that direction.
Yeah. So if you're looking for just a simple tool, look to Bluebeam.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So with that, let's take a break here so we can hear from today's sponsor. All right, so I'm going to play my sad cow, and we'll be back in just a minute, folks, with more of the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call podcast is being brought to you guys by Zentek. We want to talk to you guys today about our Zen estimate tools. little bit of software that we've developed here in-house and we have for you guys. The Zen Estimate tools run on top of your existing Bluebeam Revu system, right? Which is the leading takeoff and estimating software out there today. And it provides you with all the estimating tools that you guys need for fast, accurate, and consistent quantity takeoff and estimating. Zen Estimate tools for Bluebeam Revu can save you hundreds, if not thousands, of man hours on every one of your projects and help you guys provide consistent output and results across your entire company. So, Rocco, why don't you tell us what we got in the Zen Estimate tools and how folks can find them?
Yeah, we've currently got a set for structural steel work and a set for HVAC work, and there's others in development. So you have to hit up our website and stay in tune with us, zentechconsultants.net. You can actually purchase them off of our e-store, or if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. Drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net. Give us a ring, 866-824-4459. Or I think that's about it, right?
Yeah. Hey, the only other thing then is there are plenty of videos on how they all work and what you can do with the Zen Estimate tools on our website. Zen Estimate tools, folks, you're going to love them. I developed them myself. I'm telling you, they're awesome. All right, everybody, welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast, where I was telling Rocco during the break that we have our new cow sound that sounds like a cow on antidepressants. It's just, I gotta find the cow again. It's just killing me. All right, so we're talking about using Bluebeam Revu for space planning and facilities management. And in this half of the show, I want to get into the ways that you can use Bluebeam to create incredibly effective but really simple to use facility management structures for even really complex jobs or systems. A huge function of Bluebeam that plays into this process is its innate, I guess, hyperlinking capabilities. I can hyperlink, any area, any note, any object that we create inside of Bluebeam to just about any other item in the world. Any, place or thing that you can imagine. When I start talking to folks about setting up facilities management or facility control programs using Bluebeam, I usually begin with the idea of dashboards. Okay, dashboards are very often just a simple PDF with a number of labeled buttons or images that link to all your major facility components, right? So you think about it like this, right? If you're managing a campus with 6 separate buildings, right, we can use a site plan or buttons or both, so that when people want to open the details about building 100A, they just click and it opens up either the plans or another dashboard that has all the data and information about that particular building. And this concept of just creating master dashboards, right, where people can just point and click to get the information they need instead of having to, create lists of files or send people emails with links or, call 10 different people saying, where do I get such and such information, right? That all goes away, right? This is a game-changing point and click process. So Rocco, we've done a number of projects using Bluebeam to create dashboards for this facility control process, like I'm talking about. And I know that we have a few that are kind of like on our board right now that are looming. How do people react, right, when we outline that the basic dashboard capabilities in Revu for them in terms of the facility management?
Well, they love the simplicity, right? I mean, it's clean and simple and easy to work with, and to your point, it eliminates the need to dig and search. So it's all about making it easier.
There you go. I'm always a fan of simple. So look, I know that Revu isn't a dedicated facilities management system, right? So it doesn't have those same tools for like advanced inventory and scheduling systems, right? But for most of us, work orders, things like that, it doesn't have that built in. But for most of it, that's really overkill for most of the people listening here. The reality is, I think that most of us who are responsible for overseeing facilities, we aren't using those expensive systems right now anyway. Almost everybody that we talk to, all right, is still using Word and Excel spreadsheets, or they have handwritten logs to keep track of maintenance schedules and what spare parts they have in inventory and what service requests have been ordered and which are complete and outstanding. All right, and even the companies who are using better technology than that, they're working with 3 to 4 different apps or programs, and to track all of that data, and they only have maybe 1 or 2 people who can use those programs effectively. And Bluebeam is simple enough for anybody to use, right? And when you realize that most everything that we do in this space can be structured and controlled with PDFs, right, or simple files like spreadsheet and so on, you can begin to see where the dashboard and linking features that are native to Bluebeam, they come into play in a really big way. Let's go back for a minute, right? Let's consider that 6-building campus that I talked about earlier. Wouldn't it be great, right, if you could just click on the Building 100A link, have it open another dashboard, right? And that gave you links or plans for every room and every floor in that facility, right? And then what if you could just click on each room and that opened up a list of every piece of furniture or every piece of equipment that was in that room? All right, and then if you just click on the piece of equipment and it gives you another dashboard that shows you the maintenance schedules and what parts are in inventory, and it gives you links to certified service professionals to fix it when it breaks down, and another link that goes to a website where you can order replacement parts, or maybe a link to the full instruction manual for how do we actually use this piece of equipment. Right? All of those things and a lot more than that can be done very, very easily with Bluebeam Revu to set up your facility control system. And look, yeah, I get it. There is a labor and setup time involved in building that, but it's like that for any process, right? But the key here is simplicity, like Rocco was saying. Right? When you use a dedicated facility management software, right, you're going to have to create all of those items that you're placing in CAD. Then you're going to have to generate metadata and extended tags and data fields and so on to hold all of that information, right? And then you're going to have to spend countless hours, right, extracting all of the data from where it resides today, right? Pulling it from your spreadsheets and manually typing it in from your logs, right? And you have to then format it all into a way that your facilities management software is going to be able to read. Then you have to import it all into your project, right? There's a lot of steps involved in that. With Bluebeam, right, you can kind of skip all of that, right? If you guys, you're saying, hey, you know what, I use an Excel spreadsheet to track all my work orders. You want to keep using that same spreadsheet that you've been doing for years? Not a problem. We just link it to the dashboard, right? Revu is going to let us use files and websites and forms that your people already know and are comfortable working with, right? You don't need to learn entirely new systems and processes, right? We're really talking about organizing the files, the forms, the systems, the procedures that you already use into an extremely convenient way. Okay, so Rocco, I mean, I think one of the big concerns that I've seen with people, in using Bluebeam for facility management projects like this, it's one of scope, I think. They worry that it's not going to be robust enough for large scale projects, right? But I know that we're working with a number of really big clients and jobs on our work board right now, and without giving out names, right? But what type of agencies are we working with, right? Using just Bluebeam for their facility management space planning needs.
Yeah, I mean, I like I mentioned in the first half, there's one government agency actually up in Canada that we're talking to, that's looking to again simplify, and everybody's short staffed nowadays, right? So if there's an easy tool that's gonna get it done, they want to hear about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, so we've had a couple discussions like that, again, who want something that's not overly expensive either, right? I mean, with Bluebeam, you're talking about a tool that's, that ranges from $350 to $600 in cost per perpetual license. So that's a one-time purchase with the option of annual maintenance. So it's very affordable.
Yeah, and like I said, we're working with huge, GCs to do this, and some of their bigger projects like airports, working with boards of ed, right, who have to keep track of dozens, if not hundreds of schools and facilities and structures. It's so adaptable. And one of the other things that I want to mention, right, that this type of facilities management structure with Bluebeam, it can easily integrate with just about any cloud-based system that you use. I did a project, for one of our Zentech clients earlier this year, where we used a dashboard structure, right, to link, right, to 3 separate control apps that they were using on a huge project. We were linking it to an online BIM model and a library of photos. And they had both, regular photos and 3D photos of their facility, right, that worked right inside of a standard PDF. Right? And they loved this because they were able to just share out, a single master PDF to their client and to the public. And then everybody could just navigate to the data that they needed securely and easily with just a few seconds, right? They just use the visual dashboard we set up. Click on the link. That's the building I want to go to. Click on it, and it takes them where they need to go. And another thing to throw out here, just for larger setups, and particularly with governments and so on, Bluebeam also gives you the option to set all this up as a PDF-A, right, which is a PDF archive, which are government-approved secure PDFs. Right? You can use it for the DoD and so on. The idea is that it keeps people from editing and modifying the PDFs, after they've been published, all right, so that you can be sure your changes are controlled. And you know what? I also want to take a minute here before we move on to answer a question that I get a lot. The question I usually get in this conversation is, what if my end users don't have Bluebeam? And that's not a problem, right? Everything we're talking about here is in the standard PDF format, all the hyperlinking, it all works no matter what reader you're using, whether it's free Adobe Reader or anything else you might have. And I'll even say better yet, right? Bluebeam Revu, you can download it for free. And it'll run for the first 30 days in a fully enabled demo mode where you can use all the tools. And after that, it just runs forever, free, no cost, as just a PDF reader. So it's a simple thing for people to download and use, right, even without a license, okay? So no big thing there. So, all right, Rocco, before we get out of here today, why don't you tell folks who are interested in working with Zentech, right, to get their space facility control systems set up like this in Bluebeam, how do they get in touch with us, and what do we do to get it going?
Should I give them your home number?
Give them my home address, send them an Uber, get them here. As long as they bring a cow with them, we'll be all good.
Okay, so we're at zentechconsultants.net, at ZENTEK consultants.net. You could drop us an email if you want to have a conversation, right? I mean, no cost to talk. So, reach out, 866-824-4459, or drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
There you go. And we'll get you guys going. Look, guys, at the end of the day, Bluebeam may not handle every single feature that you might ever dream of for these types of, facility management, space planning, retail leasing systems, but it is going to handle 80% of them. And for most of us, that is more than sufficient, right? And not just that, but it's dramatically cheaper, and it is very easy to configure Bluebeam to your specific needs. And I really do think everybody listening should look at Bluebeam, right? Even if you already have one, or if you think you might need something more powerful in terms of those big ticket item, facility management tools. I think that you guys will be very pleasantly surprised at how versatile the Bluebeam Revu system is for this type of work. All right. So with that, folks, we are going to get out of here, and we will catch you next time on the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net, You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.